What is going on, y'all? Welcome into the Bubba Road Show. We really appreciate you tuning in, however and whenever you're listening, whether it's on our Facebook page, YouTube channel, or one of our many audio-only platforms, including but not limited to Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. On this episode, we have something a little different for you. When I started this show a little over a month ago, one of my aims was to talk a variety of topics, with one of those certainly being music. While I listen to a variety of music, one of the types I grew up on was Carolina beach music. One of the groups synonymous with beach music is undoubtedly the chairman of the board. I've heard them in concert numerous times over the years, and right now I'm very excited to be joined by Ken Knox, Thomas Hunter, and Brandon Stevens. Gentlemen, welcome into the show.
Bubba, what's up, Bubba?
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Appreciate you coming on. Taking a look at things. Let's right off the bat, Ken, let's just talk about your upbringing. I know you were born in Charleston, West Virginia, but take us back. Take us back to those days growing up in Detroit, and talk about your love for music, because I know you had an older brother that played the sax, and then you had sisters who were in the gospel choir and so on.
Right. Well, you've done your homework, but just recently I found out my mother was a singer. Her and her sisters had a quartet. They were called the Thomas Sisters. I just found this out about a month ago. All these years, my mother never told me about it. So I'm thinking I'm getting all my inspiration from my brother, because my brother plays sax, and my sister, like you said, she was in the gospel group, but it came from my mother. She was in the quartet back in the day. So my upbringing, man, in Detroit, of course, you heard Motown. You come out your door, you may hear on somebody's stereo, they called it a stereo back then, a hi-fi. If you're walking down the street, you're gonna hear the Temptations coming out that house. 2 doors down, you're gonna hear the Miracles. It was just Motown. But then my love came when I was in high school. I played saxophone, and my teacher would take us to his symphonies, the orchestras. I fell in love with orchestra music, honestly. And from that, I snuck into a couple of rehearsals of Bob Seger and Mitch Ryder. And so I love all genres of music, and Detroit had it.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And growing up, one of my favorite movies was the Temptations movie. It all the time was on VH1 and other channels.
Oh man, yeah, that was a great movie. Matter of fact, I think there's a spot in that movie where their inspiration, they did an audition, and it was from one of North Carolina's Music Hall of Fame members, Mr. Maurice Williams and the Zodiacs. The Temptations, you remember that, Brandon? Or Thomas?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, so they auditioned off of that song from Maurice. I think it was Stay, or one of those songs.
Oh yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was Stay.
Yes, it was.
Nice.
Now, guys, we'll work in reverse a bit. We'll obviously, here in a few minutes, hone in on General Norman Johnson and then also Danny Woods. But prior to that, Brandon and Thomas, I'll start with you, Brandon. Talk about your involvement and how you got to become a member of the chairman of the board here, I guess, 8-9 years ago.
Yeah, I joined the group in October 2012, and it came about through a mutual friend, a DJ friend of mine by the name of, he goes by Mr. LG. He actually did a rap verse on a song that Ken had done called the Carolina Shuffle, which is a cool dance song, kind of similar to the Cupid Shuffle. So at that time, Ken was having auditions for a lead singer for the Executives, which is the backing band for the chairman. So I auditioned once, and I didn't really do great on the first audition. But Ken, luckily, he called me back a few months later. I auditioned again, and he put me in with the Executives. And then a couple of years later, I got the opportunity to join Ken and Thomas as one of the chairmen of the board. So that's how it all happened.
Now
It was a great move.
In addition to how you joined the Chairmen, just talk about what was your familiarity, or maybe perhaps even lack of familiarity with Chairman of the Board and their music prior to joining.
To be honest, I didn't know a whole lot about the Chairman of the Board. I knew, that they had some big hits, Carolina Girls, of course, and Give Me Just a Little More Time. But I really wasn't aware that they, at the time that I joined the group, that they had like two very successful phases to their career. And it's really something that's, rarely done by any artist or group, if ever, like going from being a well-known soul and R&B act to completely relocating their operation, changing their strategy, and becoming icons of beach music. So they really changed their sound. So actually, my first, I guess, kind of coincidental introduction to the Chairman of the Board was I had a friend of mine, a friend of me and our keyboard player with the Executives, Midas. We went to college together, and we had a friend who was a hip hop music producer and a rapper, and he actually wanted to sample Carolina Girls for a rap song, and so I guess he got in contact. This was when General Johnson was still alive, so I guess he got in contact with the family or whoever was in charge of administering copyrights for sample use, and he wasn't allowed to use the sample for Carolina Girls, so he called Midas and I to come down to his studio, and he wanted us to kind of recreate the chorus for Carolina Girls, so he could do what he wanted to with it, to use it in his rap song. And we did that, and then just by sheer coincidence, a few years later, both of us are in the band. So that was kind of a cool little thing that happened there. But yeah, it's been an honor to be a part of a group that has such a long history, and really two very distinct phases to their history.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that's one of the things we'll talk about here in a little bit, as far as the music itself, specifically, the beach music, but the other songs as well, just being timeless. Here we are in 2021, and a lot of folks, they love it. The younger generations are growing to love it, because their parents, are exposing them to it.
Absolutely.
So Thomas, tell us, back in, I guess it was October of 2010, that we lost General Norman Johnson. When did your involvement with Chairman of the Board begin?
Right after that, I became a member of the Chairman of the Board in November or late August, October, I think it was, and of 2010, right after the General passed. And a lot of times were thinking when I came into the group, people were thinking that I was going to try to take General's place, but that's not happening. There was only one General Norman Johnson. And I'm glad that all of my fans grew to love me for my style and for who I am.
Absolutely. You got to be true to yourself. So same question I asked Brandon a moment ago. What was your familiarity with Chairman of the Board prior to joining?
Okay, well, I knew of the Chairman of the Board. As a matter of fact, I liked a lot of the songs that the Chairman of the Board did. I was especially a fan. I didn't know Ken, but I was especially a fan of Ken Knox because of the way that he played the saxophone. And I never would have thought in a million years that I would be in the same group with Ken Knox. It's amazing. But I heard somebody sleeping in my bed. I go back a long way with them. All the great hits I already knew. And when the opportunity came up for me to join, it was a great friend of Ken Knox. I'm also a writer, and a great friend of Ken Knox had come to hear some of the songs I had written. And he said, well, look, I want you to take this number. And when I call you, I want you to go and interview with this guy. And the time came around, weeks went by, and the time came around, and I interviewed with Ken, and the rest is history.
Ken, we've talked about your background in music and your love of music. Just talk about your path and how you got involved with Chairman of the Board all those years ago.
Oh man, it's similar to Thomas and Brandon. You know, it was a great one for me because when I was in high school, Chairman of the Board was one of my favorite groups, and I remember a friend of mine was the center on our basketball team. He was like 6'8", and we all went downtown Detroit to see Chairman of the Board in concert. There were so many people down there that you could hardly see the stage. So my friend put me on his shoulders, and I looked up and I said, "Oh man, so there they are. I'm loving this." Years later, I'm in the club in Detroit, and Danny Woods walks in. So back in the day, when an artist would come in to see a band perform, they would always sing. They want to sit in with the band and sing a song. So Danny came to us and said he wanted to sing. I think it was "Higher and Higher." So all the bands in the land know that song, "Higher and Higher." So this is like early 70s. So we did a thing with Danny, rocked the house. Danny said to me, "Look, we're holding auditions. We're regrouping the chairman of the board, and want you to come down and audition." Damn, I ain't never. Oops. We can say that on. We can say that on.
Hey, you're good. You're good. This isn't radio. Okay. This is a podcast.
All right. Yeah. Well, damn. I said. I said I've never auditioned, but man, this is. I've got to take my chance. So when I go down to Invictus Records, I come in the room, look to my left, there's General Johnson, and I look across the room, there are the Funkadelics. You familiar with them, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So there's Tiki Fullwood on drums, Eddie Hazel on guitar, Bernie Worrell on keyboards, Ron Bykowski on rhythm guitar, and Billy Bass Nelson. So and then there's Harrison Kennedy. So and McKinley Jackson. McKinley Jackson, which we have a story on that when we start talking about music. So McKinley Jackson was there as the musical director. So needless to say, I made the audition. And it was like a dream come true because I didn't want to get a job in Detroit because either the jobs, you either had to work in a factory or you had to work doing something else. And thanks to God that I've never had a job except this job. This is a job. And Brandon and Thomas can say, this is a job, you know? And so that's how I got involved, man. And a lot of people think it was General, but it was actually Danny.
Interesting story. I had not heard that. And General Norman Johnson, well, he was at least about 10, maybe 11 or 12 years older than you. Is that correct?
You've done your homework, yes.
and then I knew Danny was kind of splitting the difference between the two of you.
They were neck and neck.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously, like you just mentioned, General Norman Johnson was someone that you had really looked up to growing up, and the chairman of the board specifically. Talk about the general. Give us a glimpse behind the scenes. I saw a post that you had on Facebook here recently. I think it was back. Was it Emerald Isle? I think it's a concert down in Emerald Isle. Back in the maybe mid to late 80s, and you guys were about to go on stage, and you were talking about stepping on a chair to use as the steps to get up on the stage, and then General will look at you and say, "Hey, and do I look good?"
Right, that's right. Yeah, so General, man, and I'll say this, General will love these guys, these two guys right here. He will love them because they are They're the real deal. And that's what we've always had, the real deal. We never just brought somebody in just to bring them in. We bring in people who love music and love Chairman of the Board's music. And now, let me just say about General. Yeah, people would think he was a perfectionist, but he wasn't, because he always felt like there's no perfect show and there's no perfect record. But we always strived every time we go out to do the perfect show on as it is now. With the new chairman of the board, we strive to give the people a great show. But General was great. He was a mentor. He was basically a triple threat. He could write, he could sing, and produce. And I know Tom's saying that's him too. So, and Brandon's saying the same thing, you know, because they write and they produce and they sing. So General was a triple threat, and so was Danny, because Danny was like a ball of energy. He was like the what's that guy? The energizing bunny. You know, you wind him up and he takes off, and you know, he had people to their feet. You know, Bubba, you've been there.
Absolutely.
You know, I think one of the places that really made us was the Attic.
No doubt. Nice segue there. I appreciate you setting me up for my question about the Attic.
Yes.
A lot of our loyal listeners and big fans of Chairman of the Board, obviously, and they were talking about back in the day at Greenville in the mid to late 1990s and seeing you guys and Ken just talk about that experience and what it was like performing in front of a packed crowd.
Oh man, right quick. So Joe Toronto was the club owner of the Attic. And at this time, that's when Hootie and the Blowfish, they were starting to pop up, and they were more or less a college band. So Joe wanted to bring in an R&B / pop act, and to see how we would do with the college kids. And that's the best thing that ever happened, because from him doing that, when we would play the Attic, it would be wrapped around the block with people getting in there in a hot club, but the club was full of energy, and the people gave us as much energy as we gave back to them. Mm-hmm. So we loved playing the Attic. I wish Thomas and Brandon had a chance to play there.
I did have a chance.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you know,
I think they called it. They had changed the name to the Long Shore or something, wasn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Ken, not to interrupt you, but while we're on the topic, Thomas, and what year did that name change happen?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Hey, I appreciate the name. I have no idea. Huh?
I was just picking. I said I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. Well, when during that time I became a member of the chairman of the board, and everything was going by like a whirlwind. It was all of these people and so many fans. I couldn't believe the fans that this group actually has. I mean, there were thousands and thousands and thousands of people that I have played before with the chairman of the board. It's just amazing. I loved it, and I'm still as enthused as I was the first day that I joined.
No doubt. Like I mentioned a minute ago, the music's timeless. Been listened to loyally for all these years. And, you know, while we're on some of the music, I mean, Dangling on a String, I'd Rather Be in Carolina, Give Me Just a Little More Time, etc. Carolina Girls, can't leave that one off. Everything's Tuesday. Just talk about some of those songs, Ken, and which one was specifically maybe your favorite to perform. That was a question one of our listeners.
Well, you left one out, Patches.
Absolutely. I certainly know that one. I just wasn't going to name everything, but yeah. So I'm guessing, is Patches your favorite?
I would have to say, because Patches has taken us Patches and Give Me Just a Little More Time and Pay to the Piper has taken us halfway around the world, because not only the fans of the Carolinas love that music, it is also appreciated in different countries. So I would say, like they say, it's how can you, who's your favorite child? You can't do that. So I'll say I love all of them. And you can ask Brandon and Thomas.
Brandon, we'll start with you. What about you? What's your favorite song or songs to perform?
Favorite song to perform. I have to say probably Pay to the Piper, because that's one where we do some audience interaction. So well, pre-COVID, I used to bring people up on stage and they would do the funky chicken, but you know, we have to let them do that from the audience now. But yeah, the audience interaction, that's the songs that we get to, you know, do that kind of stuff on. Those are my favorite.
It's funny you brought up the funky chicken. A natural time to bring this up before I go to my next question. Bob Phillips, another listener, chimed in. He's actually NC State alum, but he said going on stage for the funky chicken and throwing his shirt into the crowd was one of his favorite memories at a Chairman of the Board concert.
Okay.
Wow.
Throwing the shirt. Okay. Hey.
Nice.
The more enthusiasm, the better.
Yes.
And what about you, Thomas? What's your favorite song to perform?
Well, you know, one of the songs that I love to perform is Give Me Just a Little More Time, because it was the major hit and everybody knows it and everybody loves it. But I like to hear Ken perform Everything Is Tuesday. But I also love to perform myself, Bless Your Heart.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That's one that I had not even mentioned yet, but going back to Pay to the Piper, that's one that I think this is kind of what you were saying, Brandon. It's a great song as far as it being upbeat and the interaction with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But a few minutes ago, you talked about touring the world, Ken, and some of the songs that were popular worldwide. I know you guys had the opportunity to tour the UK. What were your thoughts about that tour?
Oh man, it was fantastic, because the last time that I was over was in 19 Jesus Christ, I'm blank. 19 1976. Okay, General Danny, myself, and the guys was 1976. So when the opportunity came in, like, I think it was 2015, I had gotten an email from a promoter over there saying, I would love to bring the chairman of the board back to the UK. It's been a long time. And so, first of all, I'm reading it again. Did he just ask that? So I called the guys up. I said, hey, y'all, you got to get your passports. I said, because we are leaving the country and we're going to the UK. And so everybody got their passports together. And that first night that we performed, the first night we performed, it was like we had never left the UK, because those people were so into what we were doing. They were singing every song. It was a great experience. And I saw one guy that back in 76, he was the lighting producer for one of the shows we were doing. And I saw him at the 42 years. It was amazing. So what was y'all thoughts?
Well, I remember that when you saw your friend after such a long time. But when we first did the UK, as you said, the people knew all of the lyrics to all of the songs. And the enthusiasm for the chairman of the board from the crowd was just amazing. And one of the things that I liked more than anything else was the fact that they accepted Brandon and myself as the new members.
Exactly.
They gave us love.
Exactly.
So Ken,
Ask Brandon that.
Yeah, just to echo what Ken and Thomas said, I mean, very enthusiastic crowd. They were 100% into the music. They welcomed us with open arms. I really enjoyed myself. I wish we could go back a couple of times a year, to be honest. Yeah, it's just a nice change of pace. You know, we got to travel and see a lot of different parts of the country, a lot of the different cities and towns there. So yeah, it was a great tourism experience, as well as a great experience bonding with the band and performing and getting to meet, you know, the people who have loved the music through all these years. Yeah.
Hey, Bubba,
yep.
since you're a sports guy, Brandon, what he had to do, he had to go see, was it Manchester? We went and toured.
Manchester United. Yeah, I'm a big soccer fan, so yeah, I've gotten to visit a couple of actually 3 different Premier League stadiums over there. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, Brandon, not to get off on a tangent, but since you're a fan of soccer, are you one of those that are you a gamer? Do you enjoy playing FIFA?
You know what? I have several video game systems, and I have a couple of different versions of FIFA, but I'm not any good at it. I just prefer to watch, man. I can't, like, realistic sports games, I'm not good at. Arcade stuff, like you give me some NBA Jam,
Yeah,
NFL Blitz, like I'm good at that. But like realistic sports games, nah, I'm not good at that. My mind just doesn't process all the different buttons and things like that.
Now, Ken, you were talking several minutes ago as far as your path into chairman of the board and Danny Woods. So definitely want to spend some time on Danny. Now, obviously, he passed away, January of 2018. And I know you said he had a bout with diabetes, and he battled that for years and years. But just talk about that and, just the type of man he was. I told you when we were setting this up, I've said this for years, and I don't know if this is because my dad just didn't recall who John Witherspoon was, or maybe he didn't agree. But I always thought there was a similarity, just they resembled one another in their looks. And Danny Woods, when he would be up on stage interacting with the crowd, I could just see John Witherspoon.
Yeah, they look very similar to each other, and actually, we knew the Witherspoons. The younger brother, John Witherspoon, managed a band I was in Detroit when I was like a teenager. And the other Witherspoon brother wrote What Becomes of a Broken Heart by Jimmy Ruffin. Okay. So John Witherspoon comes, and another of the brother is a tailor. So it was a very talented family. But to Danny Woods was very spiritual man, and he would give you the shirt off his back. He loved playing for the fans of the Carolinas. When we came south, this was like another home for us. And he loved playing, for this audience here. And unfortunately, he became ill. It's hard when you're on the road, you're not eating right, you don't sleep as well. Your body, if you don't take care of yourself, your body goes down. So unfortunately, that's what caught up with Danny, all the years of traveling and not taking care of your body. So unfortunately, he had a bout with diabetes. And it just kept blossoming. He tried to keep it in check, but it just kept blossoming. So I got the call January 12th, the day before my birthday. That's why I'll never forget the day Danny died. He died January 12th, 2018. And he was also another mentor. And like I said, he's the reason that I'm here, you know, and General was just, General and I just did everything together, you know, producing all our albums and other artists and stuff like that. So both of those guys meant a lot to me. And one of the promises that I made General was that I would keep the legacy alive. And that's why you have Thomas, you have Brandon, and I had to say about our band, the executives. Those boys give us 125% every night. So if I can name them right quick, Jerry D. Washington on bass, Jerry Midas Hardison on keyboards, Jerome Joseph on drums, John Page III on tenor, Doug Burns on trumpet, on guitar is Rod, the real McCoy. So those guys are part of our success.
Yep.
Talking about Danny, obviously it was John Witherspoon's character, not truly him, but a lot of times, you know, individuals play characters that they're obviously very well cast for or cast as. And, you know, taking a look at John Witherspoon's character in Friday, one of those lines that really sticks with you is nobody go in the bathroom for 35 to 45 minutes. Is that something that Danny Woods would say?
Well, I hate to say this, he said it 1,000 times. But you know what? Who hasn't?
Yeah.
You know, who hasn't? It's just, that's it. Hey, man, that's it. Hey, don't go. Hey, you better wait a few minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're talking about the friendship. We'll start off with the friendship between the three of you, and then Ken, you can address the friendship that you and General Norman Johnson and also Danny Woods had. But, you know, just talk about off the stage. You know, there are different ways, and every group's different. But what was it like? Or are you guys pretty close friends? And are you gonna, you know, maybe cook out with each other's families and things like that?
I'll let them answer first.
Well, you know, the time that we have, I mean, we all enjoy each other on and off the stage. Haven't had a cookout with the guys yet, but one of these days I'm gonna get over to Ken's house and shoot some pool on that nice tan pool table he's got. But nah,
Yeah.
in all honesty though, you know, Ken is really like a father to me. You know, he's a mentor. I've learned a lot from him. Learned a lot from Thomas as well. Thomas is an amazing performer. Like, you know, the way that he engages with the audience and expresses and communicates the song is really something to see. So I got a lot of respect for both of these guys, and both of them are good people. Proud to say I'm in the band with them.
Thank you.
An awesome experience that I know you guys had, Ken, is performing the Carolina Panthers halftime show. You fill us in on what year that was, but you know,
Well, before I go there, let Thomas speak to the part.
Oh, about being friends? Yeah, we all have a special bond. You know, especially, well, the three of us definitely have a special bond, but we also have a bond with the band. But our bond, my bond with Ken and Brandon, I think that, you know, I've learned a lot about the music, about even the business of music from Ken. Ken is an amazing saxophonist, and he gives 100,000% for this group all of the time, and I appreciate that. And Brandon, I didn't know you felt that way about me, but I really do think that you are an amazing vocalist.
Absolutely.
You know, there is none better. I remember when you auditioned the time with the other guy, I pulled Ken to the side and I said, that guy got some pipes. He really can't sing. You know, and you wound up being my partner on stage, and I appreciate that. You're great, man.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you.
Let me add to that, and both of Brandon and Thomas are right. You know, we have a chemistry that you can't find. You know, you don't find every day, Bubba. You know, of course, on stage, We know what the other's thinking. We're never on each other's notes. Thomas Wright, Brandon has an amazing voice. He makes people listen when he sings. They may be doing something else and they hear him sing, then they stand and they listen because, wow, is he singing like that? You know, and Thomas the same thing. Everybody thought he was going to be like General Johnson. So like Thomas said, you can't be a General Johnson. There's only one. Thomas has been himself. And like Brandon said, Thomas's stage presence is impeccable. Now, what I bring to the table is I'll take both their ears and I'll twist them and say, look, y'all got to do this. You got to do that. And Brandon told me, and he's right. I could be his father because I'm actually older than his father. So that's the amazing part to me. All the guys, I'm old enough to be their fathers, and that's amazing to me. But we're like brothers on and off stage. And that's why we have the successful things that we do, the tours, the journeys. We have new music coming. You can't beat success. You can't teach it, but there's a chemistry with all 9 of us, but it starts on that stage with all 3 of us. Now, and I appreciate each one of you guys for standing next to me, because the fans, and as you did say earlier, they accepted y'all. They did. Now, we did try. There's been 2 other guys, and I have to say this, been 2 other guys that tried this, Bubba. They couldn't make it. And I do remember Thomas pulling me to the side and say, hey, man, that's the guy right there. I said, yeah, I know. And I'm thankful. I know Thomas is thankful that that we all have come together. Right quick, Carolina Panthers. So just like I got the email from going to the UK, I got an email saying the Carolina Panthers would love to have you perform at the halftime show. And again, I'm looking at it again. Did that really say that? So when I found out it was the truth, I had a meeting with them, with their advertising team, because they wanted to advertise this thing. So then we got with them. We went in and we cut tracks in the studio. So they gave us 9 minutes to perform our shows, which consisted of Carolina Girls, Give Me Just a Little Time, Down at the Beach Club, and I'd Rather Be in Carolina. They also came and did a video on us that they played on the Jumbotron of I'd Rather Be in Carolina every time the Panthers would win at home. You can look up and see us on the Jumbotron. So that was a thrill for us. And the final thing, then they wanted a dance. They wanted the Carolina Shuffle. So we all went in the studio and chanted and did this. And I remember the original word says, make your butt real tight. You know, it's like to the left, to the right, bend your knees, make your butt real tight. So the organization said, you got to take out that butt. And I said, well, what did I use? And actually one of the promotional guys says, how about make your hips real tight? I said, okay. So we went back in the studio and changed the word, brought it back. And I remember this, the guy, the president slammed his fist down on the desk and said, that's it. They called Mr. What's the guy that owned the team at the time?
Jerry Richardson.
Jerry Richardson was in flight going to I think they were headed to Detroit to play the Lions. They called him on his private plane and told him, we've got the song for the Carolina Panthers. So we've been very fortunate that they play us at their home games as well. So it's all good.
Final thing for you before I have you plug your Facebook page and your upcoming content and tour stops and so forth that you have on the docket. Just talk about down through the years, you played so many places, so many venues. We already talked about the Attic in Greenville, Lexington Barbecue Festival, the Beach Music Festival, down in the central part of the state, down in Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, you name it. Name a favorite venue or two and why those venues were your favorite.
Number one is House of Blues. House of Blues in North Myrtle Beach is a great venue that we played about 2 or 3 times a year until recently. That's a great venue. You would think that venue would be in Charlotte somewhere or Raleigh, but it was in Myrtle Beach or North Myrtle Beach. And that has to be my favorite. Thomas has played there. So what do you think, Thomas?
Oh yeah, I like the House of Blues too. As a matter of fact, the House of Blues was the first performance that I did.
That's
and
right.
it was amazing. I like it. It's a great venue. The staff was great, and the fans were great too.
What about you, man?
Oh, Ken, let's get back to the House of Blues.
Yeah, I would love to play the House of Blues. I haven't had a chance to yet. But I would have to say my favorite venue for several reasons is when we've done the wine festival in Raleigh at North Hills.
Yes.
Yeah.
Outdoor amphitheater. It's like the stage you're facing a lawn that's like at a 45-degree angle with all these people. There's buildings out there. I mean, just the whole atmosphere surrounded it. So much electricity in the air. I love that that venue. It's just it just feels big, So yeah,
Right.
that's my favorite.
I agree.
There's a lot of love
Mhm.
at those festivals. A lot of love for us,
Yeah,
and what we bring to the table. There's a lot of bands out there. You've got your Band of Oz, you've got your Embers, you've got your the Coastline Band and stuff like that. But and my hats off to them. They give a lot. They have their own fan base just like we do, and we're just fortunate and to have fans that continue to support us and that love what we do. But Bubba, we also had an opportunity to do an album with 3 gentlemen, 2 from Philly, 1 from Detroit. The 2 gentlemen wrote "Could It Be I'm Falling in Love" from the Spinners. The other gentleman, what I mentioned earlier, was McKinley Jackson. He's a producer and arranger. He was one of Marvin Gaye's last musical directors and the Temptations. So we did an album with them in 2017, went to Detroit, cut all that, and the guys went to visit Motown, Hitsville, USA. And that was a good experience working with those guys. But 2021 is bringing another new CD out. So Thomas has written a lot of songs. Brandon has some songs. So it's going to be one heck of an album. Y'all can briefly talk about it right quick because it's 2:33.
Yeah, well, the upcoming album, we got some stuff in the works, and we're gonna pull the executives in on some stuff too, so we people get a feel for the flavor of what we bring in the live show as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think this album is really gonna be the definitive Chairman of the Board album for the modern era.
That's what I was thinking. We're going to continue to hold on to the old, but we're also going to bring in some new. That I think the fans will love.
Right. It's really going it's going to be a great project, you know. And one of the, we have even started getting off into other producers, younger producers, that has taken songs and remixed them. Thomas and I wrote a song called Reach Out to Me, and some young producers have taken that song and then different mixes, and it's incredible. We're learning about the other genres that people love out there.
Yeah. Really appreciate your time this afternoon, gentlemen. We've really just skimmed the surface on a lot of the things that we could talk about, and we'd love to have you back on down the road. But before I end this and wrap things up with this show, Ken, go ahead and plug your Facebook page and talk about briefly that podcast that was born out of everything that's been going on the past year, and then how we can find out about the shows you have coming up in the next few months.
All right, let's start with shows coming up. So the fans can go to www.thechairmenoftheboard.com and that's our website. And under tours, you can see the calendar that has upcoming dates. We all have individual Facebook pages. Mine is Ken Knox. And then we have a Facebook page for the chairman of the board. Brandon has his, was it Brandon Stevens?
Mm-hmm.
And then Thomas has his, Thomas Hunter. And in regards to, what's the other question you asked?
Just briefly, plug your podcast and your YouTube.
Podcast.
Yeah, your YouTube channel.
You know what happened with that? So when COVID hit, one of the persons that's connected to the show, she was saying, you know what, you guys need to be seen in front of people. So why don't we do a podcast? And I said, you know what, that sounds interesting. So the first few shows was the whole band, chairman of the board and the executives. And, we would talk to fans, let them, write questions. We would talk to them. And then we kind of took it to the right a little bit. We said, let's start bringing in national acts. And so we've had so far, and the show is called That's My Story, and it comes on Thursdays at 6:00. So far, we've had two of the members from Earth, Wind, and Fire, that's Verdine White and Ralph Johnson. We've had Tommy Davidson from In Living Color. You remember him? Yeah. And so we've had the lead singer from the Motels. We've had Ray Parker Jr., which we recorded one of his songs for Steve Hardy. You remember Steve Hardy? Steve Hardy's Beach Party. So anyway, join in by going to official Chairman of the Board YouTube channel, and you can see the show, That's My Story, every Thursday at 6:00.
Again, really appreciate your time. Stay safe, and you and your families stay blessed, and look forward to having you back on down the road.
Let's do this. Say hello to your dad.
Bubba.
Will do. Keep making the music we love.
All right,
yes, sir. Hey, thanks for having us, man.
Thanks.
That concludes this edition of the Bubba Rose Show. We appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show wherever you listen. Also, be sure to follow us on social media at Bubba Rosenbaum on Twitter, at Bubba Rose Show on Instagram. Like and follow the Bubba Rose Show on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us hear from you by emailing us at thebubbaroseshow@gmail.com. Again, that's thebubbaroseshow@gmail.com. We'll see you next time, y'all.